How's it going? How's it going? I like how we ask that like anybody can respond.
I know, but it's just a nice thing to do.
It is. How's it going, guys? I'm Olivia,
And I'm Amy, and
and
this
this
is
is
Girls
Girls
Gone
Gone
Spooky.
Spooky. We have a spooky little kitty here today.
He's a support
Hi,
kitty.
Bubba's. Binks is
He's
here.
splayed
Our
out.
little, yeah, our splayed out little mascot,
Aw.
keeping his mother company.
Yeah,
Because I had surgery last week, guys.
she's convalescing. Is that the right
I'm
word?
I'm convalescing, yes.
Yes.
I am 50% bunion free.
Amazing. I'm so sorry you have to do it again.
I
It's
know. Me
like,
too.
but
Me too.
now you
But now
know.
we've learned
Yes.
valuable lessons from
Yes.
round one, which
Yes.
everyone did not go well. But you know what? Well, okay, that's not true. That's not true. It went really well, the
Right.
surgery.
Yes.
It's just in the recovery, mistakes were made and
Yes.
misunderstandings were misunderstood.
Yeah.
And I suffered as a result.
She suffered the consequences.
I suffered the consequences. But you know what? It's all good because we got it figured out.
Yes.
And now I know for
Yep.
the pigs, for the other
Yeah.
pigs.
The other pig will be
The
happier.
other pig will be happier
Yeah.
and not so suffering.
Oh man. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so if I seem high this episode, it's because
She's
I am.
she's on pain meds.
Not yet. They haven't really kicked in yet, but it took
We're
them about 20 minutes ago, so
I'm hoping
y'all are along
it's
for the ride.
I hope it's gonna enhance the experience.
Honestly,
We'll
it will
see.
for me. I'll go back to post-produced and I'm just
Be
gonna be
like
so like sedated. Just no
perfect.
reaction.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, well, we are like slowly working our way up to our Halloween stories episode, I feel, with the
Yes.
theme this week, which is like a little bit hodgepodge,
Yeah.
but honestly, just like spooky social media. We come across so many scary stories on Reddit, on Instagram, on TikTok. Like we're barely scraping the surface with the ones that we're sharing today.
Yes.
And BuzzFeed also does a bunch of roundups. So we're just kind of like clicking on some of the best that we've come across lately and sharing those stories here. So I was gonna say the only difference between this week and next week's episode is that this week's are real, but there really are no guarantees that next week's aren't also real.
Yeah, true. But it's like a kind of a different format because we
It
usually
is.
get our like longer stories from
Yes.
No Sleep. It's like
Yeah.
more creative writing.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
even
yeah.
if it's a
Agreed.
real story, it's
Yeah,
still like
it's written like a short
it's
story, sort of. Yeah. No, that's
yes.
very true. So
Yeah.
this is a little appetizer, a
Yeah.
little amuse bouche before the entree next week.
Amazing.
Um, and we're just like deep in October now. So
I know.
light a
It's
candle, turn out the lights, get
yeah.
spooked.
The weather here today is super spooky.
Is it? It's like
Yeah.
80 here.
Sorry about that. It's in the
The fan
50s today.
blasting.
I know.
Spooky. I'm
Yeah.
like dying for that. I just want to wear a sweater.
I
Let
know.
me wear a
I
sweater.
got my turtleneck out and
I
I'm
know.
like so
You're
cozy.
thriving.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Amy is up first this week, so
Perfect. Okay. I wanted to actually start and see if you have seen this on social media. It's on theme.
okay.
This video of a 911 call, I guess, the audio of this guy who's like, I just saw somebody on the side of the road. I'm gonna turn around and see, but I think he was in trouble. And
Oh
then
God.
he's like, you hear him get out of the car to look, and he's like, that's not a human. That's not a human. Have you seen that?
What? No.
It's so scary. I'll see if I
Oh my
can find it
God.
again. But
Yeah, you have to send that to me.
it's clearly a flesh pedestrian story.
Ew, dude.
Yes.
That's so scary. Okay, please send that
Yeah.
to me. I
Okay.
definitely need to see that.
I'll
That's
find
not a human. That's
Uh-huh.
not a
It
human.
like it gave me chills saying that
Yeah, I
and listening
bet.
to it the first time.
Oh
I
my
was
God,
like,
I
oh my God.
bet.
Nope. Mhm. So anyway, I'll find it. Um, but into the stories. I went to BuzzFeed, but I think all of these come from Reddit anyway, so our favorites.
God.
Gonna be rapid fire.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so the first one is from Throwin218. And Throwin. And they said, I used to be a nurse's aide in a locked dementia ward. One morning.
Hey.
Yeah.
Strong start.
Yes. One morning, I was getting ready to do my end of shift bed checks, and there was this older woman in our unit who was mildly senile, but nowhere near the advanced stages of dementia. As I approached her room, I heard her saying very clearly, "No, stop, you're hurting me. Stop doing that. I don't want to play with you." I thought she might be having a dispute with her roommate, so I went into her room expecting to find her awake. She was sound asleep in her bed. Before I could turn around and assess what had happened, I heard a little girl giggling. Everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
My boss at the time came in to help me care for the woman in the room. He was very lighthearted in general and had worked in the facility for nearly a decade. When we walked out of the room, I told him about what had happened and what I had heard. Before I could even finish my sentence, he physically pulled me aside and in a very serious tone said, "We do not talk about that little girl." And that was that.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Huh?
Who's that little girl?
Oh my god. Also, who's like terrorizing the people staying there?
Yeah.
I don't want to play with you. Leave me alone.
I know. And apparently, like, in her sleep, too, because she was sound asleep when she went in.
Oh, it's like egg yolk eyes from last week.
Yeah. Yikes. So, spooky.
Spooky.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna start, actually, I didn't say this. These are from people who work the night shift. That's the theme of these first stories. So, this one is from Gutted570. They said, I work overnight as a security guard at an empty warehouse. Great. It's just
rough
me.
Start.
I know. It's just me from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. when the workers start coming in. I'm required to do a few patrols each night where I essentially walk around the inside of the warehouse and through the offices just to make sure everything is in order. One night, I was walking through like usual when I heard a very clear knock on the inside of one of the offices in the building. We know what knocking means.
Yeah, fuck.
I never open the doors. I just do a quick walk through and I don't even check every room. The first thing that came to mind was someone either got stuck in there and couldn't get out, or maybe someone had snuck in, so I walked over and said hello. Then another knock came, 3 times, right in front of my face. Someone was knocking on the door from the other side. I prepared to fight as I slowly turned the knob and opened the door, yet there was only an empty room on the other side.
Fuck off.
I have never run through a patrol so fast in my life.
I'm prepared to fight.
I know. I guess that's good in a security guard. I would have turned the other way as soon as I heard
I would have
anything.
turned heel. Actually, turned heel I think means like switch sides, but I would have pivoted hard.
It sounded right.
Yeah.
Pivot hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so scary. Okay. Now we have Hot Mess Mama 0307. She says, I used to work in an ER as a tech. One night. Yeah, I know. All of these from the first sentence, you know.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's going to be bad.
Something's bad, yep. One night I had to transport a baby to the pediatric unit, and the room was at the end of the hall. There were double doors with windows nearby. After I got the baby and mom all settled in, the doors began shaking. When I looked over, there was a lady motioning to me to let her in. I told her that it would be a minute because I had to get the head nurse, as we couldn't just let anyone into the unit. So I went to the nurse's station to tell them about the woman. They all turned pale and told me that no one could get through that way anymore. I laughed and said, "Nice one." So I went back to the ER to tell the head nurse what happened. She became alarmed and said that was part of the old hospital that had been sealed off, and there's absolutely no way anyone could get in. I told everyone that we apparently had a ghost who really wanted to come in.
Oh, I don't like that. Like shaking the door to get in,
Yeah.
too.
Like demanding to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's forceful. Not
Yeah.
good. And then this one I liked because it takes place at a Spirit Halloween store.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's from that one writer. They say, I was the manager at a Spirit Halloween store, and one night I went to help another store close because they were short-staffed. After everyone else left, I stayed with the assistant manager to finish closing up and deal with the paperwork. While walking to the back of the store to put the money in the safe, I saw a white figure quickly dart across the break room/storage area where the office was. I thought I was imagining it and decided to ignore it. When I reached that area to sort the paperwork and money, the door slammed shut behind me, which was unusual because it's a lightweight door. I called for my coworker thinking she had done it, but she didn't answer, so I used my walkie-talkie to contact her. She was at the front by the registers and had also heard the door slam. At that point, the room got colder and I started to hurry. Just as I was about to leave, a box of donation stickers for St. Jude's tipped over and fell to the floor. The box was nowhere near the edge of the table. I thought, forget this, and ran fast to set the alarm. I told my coworker it was time to leave. The scariest part was when she said, "Did you see something too?"
Okay, so the thing is, though, if you work at Spirit Halloween, wouldn't you just be concerned all the time that your coworkers are fucking with you?
Yes.
Because you're just surrounded by costumes and, like, creepy stuff.
Yeah, I know. All those stores have a weird vibe to begin with.
Very weird vibe. Well, because it's like they're set up and taken down so quick.
Yes, yes.
So, like, the transient nature of them is, like, kind of eerie.
Yeah, it is, because then that building just sits empty for
all
months.
the time. Yeah, it's so weird.
It is weird. But I don't know. Sounds like it wasn't her. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Have you been to Spirit Halloween yet this year?
No, not yet this year. Have
Me
you?
either. No, I gotta
time.
go. It's
Yeah.
time.
We're beyond time, actually.
Yeah, we're overdue.
Yes. Okay. I have 3 more now, and these are just like random, not from Night Shift people.
Okay.
So, this is from Curious I Wonder. They wrote, on multiple occasions in 2004, when I was around 15, I'd suddenly wake up around 3 a.m. Perfect. To find every single light on in the house. My mom worked nights, Dad didn't live with us, and my brother and sister were still out cold when I checked. On one of those nights, all the lights were on, the bathtub faucet was blasting, the tub was nearly overflowing, and the bathroom sink and kitchen faucets were also running full blast. The water and lights at night terrified me so much that I ran and shook my older sister awake, yelling, "Did you do this?" She shrugged me off and had no idea what I was talking about. Same with my younger brother. After a couple of nights of it, I started yelling for whoever was there to please stop. I acknowledged their presence and I needed them to leave. It never happened again. So, straightforward spooky story.
I mean, it's good when they're responsive, right?
Yes.
When you're like, please stop, and they're like,
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
okay. Just messing around, God.
Just messing around, jeez.
I know.
Quit harshing my
defensive.
mellow, man.
I know. Okay, this next one, I don't know. Like, is it paranormal? I guess it is. We'll see. So it's from Chickpea Dog with a W, D-A-W-G.
Wow.
When I was in high school, my mom had a nightmare, and we shared the experience. The way our house was set up, my bedroom was the first in the hallway. then my brothers, the bathroom, the laundry room, and then my mom was at the end of the hallway. While we were all in bed, I sleep with my door open because of the pets. I heard her gasp, but didn't really think anything of it. A few moments later, a shadow as tall as my door frame walked past my door. I got up and immediately started flicking on lights and asking if she had walked up the hallway. Of course, my mom saw since she was awake, and we walked through the house. I went to get into bed with her after we found nothing, and she was telling me about her nightmare, which was that a tall man was at the end of her bed with an axe, swinging it towards her, which is why she had gasped awake in the first place. While lying there, we heard and felt knocking on the bed's footboard. We just sat there in silence, holding each other's hands until it stopped, and asked one another if we both heard it.
Fuck off. That's scary, dude.
I know. That's why I was like, is this paranormal or is somebody actually under the bed? But I think the fact that
Amy.
the fact that they survived.
I didn't even think of that, Amy. You little
Really?
goblin.
That was
oh my god, no.
first
I just
thought.
thought like a demon or a shadow person or something like conjured that dream for her and then was still fucking with them. Oh my god.
I mean, it seems like that's probably what it was, because I feel like if it was a real person, they might not be here to tell the story.
And also,
So-
wouldn't they check? Like, I feel like you would check under the bed. I mean, it'd be very
Right.
scary to check, but I would
Yeah.
check.
Yes, definitely. Ugh. I can just
Ugh.
imagine the feeling of forcing yourself to look under the bed. Oh
I
my
know.
God.
You'd be like, not it.
Yeah. No, I'll stay here under the
I'll
covers.
stay here. You check.
I'm safe. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, my brother stayed asleep throughout the entire thing and nothing else ever happened, but boy, that was a scary ass night.
Yeah,
I
what
definitely
the
I don't look at my doorway for too long at nighttime if I can help it.
No.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, pareidolia gets you, too. Because it's like, if you stare into the darkness long enough,
Oh.
your brain conjures up
Images.
an image.
Yeah. It's awful. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I don't
So
like it.
scary.
Scary.
Okay, last one, and this one I thought was so freaky.
Oh,
So,
God.
It's from Kate Monster 89. She says, I have a brother who is 8 years older than I am. My mom used to talk about a creepy, grinning version of my brother that she and a babysitter saw when he was little. So this is a shared thing.
That's like a mimic.
Yeah, but in a grinning version. Oh my god. So it
Yikes.
seems to age with him, and my mom saw him multiple times.
What?
Yeah. The babysitter saw him only once and freaked the fuck out. I saw him when I was in high school. My brother worked multiple jobs and was gone a lot. To help him make some extra cash, I would clean his room and do his laundry every week. I usually stayed up late Saturday nights to watch Mad TV and SNL while folding laundry. I started feeling like I was being watched, but my brother was at work and everyone else was asleep. When I turned to look, my brother was peeking around the hallway wall at me with
No,
a
no
super
peeking.
creepy grin on his face. All I could see were his hands holding the wall and his head sticking out around the corner, but that grin was freaky. I instantly thought, it's just my brother messing with me, so I said something along the lines of, fuck off, and looked back at the TV. Then I remembered that he wasn't even home, and the hairs on my arms stood up. I looked back and he was gone, but the next morning I told my mom what I had seen, and she just nodded in understanding.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that scary?
Yes!
I hate it.
The idea of anyone peeking,
Mhm.
like, no peeking.
No.
Don't be peeking.
Never peek around a corner.
Don't peek at me.
No.
I don't want to be peeked at.
And don't
Please.
smile either while you're doing
No. No. The peek smile combo is
Yeah.
unacceptable.
it. Lethal. But anyway,
Lethal.
those are my stories.
My God.
Kate
Okay.
Monster. Poor thing.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus. Um, okay, so I also have some mimic stories. So I have a couple like different sort of themes. One is mimics, one is Ouija boards, because sorry I had to, and one is just like a little an intro one. So I'll start with that one. So this is from Fine Apple Fanta. They say, I had something that has been bothering me. Wow, sorry, I'm trying to adjust my little windows here. Okay, there we go. I had something happen that has really been bothering me recently. To start off, I look for any possible explanations in everything, but I'm not really finding one here. 2 nights ago, I was asleep when I heard my best friend's voice talk to me, and it woke me up. As soon as I heard her, I immediately woke up and looked to the corner of my room where I saw a figure standing. Since I was half asleep, I assumed that it was her because I heard her voice wake me up just seconds before. I flat out asked it, well, like called it by her name twice. And then in parentheses, say I'm gonna change her name. Sam? Sam? When I asked whatever I saw, if it was my best friend by name, it started to disappear. At that time, I assumed that maybe my eyes were adjusting and I was still pretty tired, so I just went back to bed. When I woke up in the morning, I started thinking about how weird it really was, so I decided to tell my brother about it. As I'm telling my brother, both our front door and screen door open and shut as if someone is coming into the house. Mind you, they were completely shut moments before. We both looked at each other and were like, yeah, that was definitely weird. So I decided to sleep with my lamp on last night because I was a little bit spooked. At one point, I woke up to use the bathroom and realized that my lamp was turned off, even though I know I had specifically left it on because I was scared. I was also the last one awake, so there wasn't anyone to come in and turn it off after I'd fallen asleep, as they were already asleep themselves. This one, I guess, could be explained as I might have turned off the lamp and not remembered, but it was still weird when taking everything else into account. Back to what originally started all this, the figure. This is driving me absolutely nuts because at the moment it didn't occur to me how weird it would have been for my best friend to be standing in the corner watching me sleep. And instead, I sort of accepted it in my half-asleep brain as normal and even asked if it was her. And here's the thing, it wasn't because it didn't look like her. It was just a figure, just a dark figure with barely any characteristics. And when I asked the figure if it was my best friend, I was filled with this very unsettling feeling, like a split second of fear or dread. Like, for a slight moment, I thought that when I asked it, when I called it my friend's name, I thought that it was going to step out of the shadow and reveal it as something else, but instead it started to disappear. I don't know what this means or what I should do, get across a Bible, sage, or what. And then it's like asking for help in terms of what they should do. So, I hated that, but thought it was a nice little intro.
Yeah. For it to be your
Yeah.
best friend, too. That's scary.
Right. Very scary. Just like little shadow Amy standing in the corner of my room.
Oh, God.
No.
No.
Nope. Okay, so this is from, now we're getting into mimics. So this is from Successful Dress 167. So they say, I never post on here, and to be honest, I'm not sure if what I have to say is very interesting, but I would really appreciate some help or advice. I'm no stranger to the odd noise or something that I could probably debunk, or at least things that I could convince myself aren't real. Like feeling that I'm being watched, like the intense kind of feeling where the hair stands up on the back of your neck and you sort of start to panic. Or our Alexa suddenly being on volume 10 when it's usually set to a 2 or a 3, and then shouting that it doesn't understand what we're saying when we haven't said anything. Or the fact that at 2 a.m. someone knocked on my bedroom door very loudly when both of my parents were asleep in the bedroom on the other side of the house, only for me to open my bedroom door and have no one be there.
No.
Even after inspection. Thinking about it now, there would be absolutely no way for either of my parents to sneak out of bed, come to my room, knock on my door, and then make it back into their room in time for me to come and open the door. I also hear every noise in the house, so I know when they open their door. I know when they're using the bathroom. I can hear everything. Yikes for them, but yeah. Okay. And I did not hear any of those things that night. Still, I pushed it to the back of my mind and told myself that it had to just be one of them, even after telling them about it and them swearing that it wasn't them. So they're saying, all of this I can let go of.
I don't know how, but
Right. But then, about 2 months ago, I was sat downstairs with my mom watching TV. She paused it so that she could go to the bathroom, so I went to go and make us a cuppa. Love that phrase.
Yeah.
She'd gotten downstairs, and then about a minute later, as clear as day, I hear her shout my name. So I walk towards the stairs, and she's coming down at the same time, and before I say anything, she asks me if I shouted for her. I told her, no, I didn't. I thought you had shouted for me. We both thought it was kind of creepy, but laughed it off until my mom came into my room that night and said that my dad, who's extremely skeptical, said that after my mom had gone to bed, he went downstairs to watch a movie. He had he had heard what he thought was my mom whisper shout his name, and that he's absolutely sure it came from the kitchen. He said it could not have come from anywhere else because the stairs are on the other side of the house. He went into the kitchen and no one was there aside from an open cupboard. He went upstairs to make sure my mom was in bed, and she was. The door was closed, and she was fast asleep. I think it's becoming obvious that something is with us, and it's starting to bother me. I don't really think it's a ghost or a spirit. I don't know what it is, but when I read up about mimics, I was wondering if it's a possibility that this could be one. We've lived in this house for 15 years, and nothing like this has ever happened before. Not apart from the small stuff I mentioned earlier. So I need some advice. And people were like, yes, 100%. If you're hearing something calling out to you, it is probably a mimic, especially if it's in a voice that you know. What's creepy and what people are like very torn about are, what are they exactly? Like, is it a demon? Like, is everything a demon? Basically, goes back to that theory that we had before.
Yeah.
Is everything a demon? Probably. Yeah,
Could be.
probably.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. So keeping with the theme, more mimics. This is from Ezra00. It all happened just last night, and I cannot stop thinking about it. My boyfriend, his sister, her boyfriend, and I stayed outside for quite a while playing board games, talking, laughing, etc. To be clear, we were all completely sober. When we realized it was already late, we started to tidy up the table and slowly head inside. Now, my boyfriend's sister went to the bathroom, and her boyfriend was standing right in front of the bathroom, which is important for the story. From where he was standing, he had a perfect view of what was happening in the corridor leading from the entrance because the door from the corridor to the inside of the house is glass. My boyfriend started collecting things from the table outside the house and headed to the boiler room, which is right next to the glass door, to put the trash away. Since I didn't have much to do, I followed him. The moment he noticed me walking next to him, my boyfriend smiled without a word and disappeared behind the door to the boiler room, which was already a bit strange when I think about it now. First of all, my boyfriend is not a smiley person and doesn't just smile for no reason, which is like kind of funny, but you know, they know them.
Yeah.
Secondly, he hasn't said a word, but he always likes to tease me with something like, "Why are you following me around?" or something like that. So it was like weird that he was like,
He didn't react.
and just said nothing.
Yeah.
Not suspecting anything strange, of course, I simply waited for him in front of the boiler room door. But when I noticed the lock on the door from the outside, I closed it just for fun. His sister's boyfriend, seeing this through the glass door, laughed, probably expecting, like me, that my boyfriend would try to convince me to open the door. He'd realize he's locked in. He'd be like, "Come on, open the door," whatever. Before I realized that not even the slightest sound was coming from inside. So, like, she's like, "Ha ha ha," and then she's like, "Wait a minute. Like, there's no sound of the trash can. There's nothing."
Oh my
After
God.
After a few minutes, I decided that maybe my boyfriend was actually trying to scare me by saying nothing. So I'm still like kind of in a good mood. I finally unlock the boiler room door and push it open so that he could get out. But there is complete darkness and silence inside. I felt a bit uncomfortable, so I told him not to make fun of me and that I only locked him in there for a moment as if I felt the need to explain myself. I called his sister over and told her to use a flashlight so that I could spot him somewhere inside so he couldn't scare me. But surprisingly, the boiler room is empty. Her boyfriend then comes closer, peering inside, and is just as confused as I was. Later, he swore he'd seen the exact same thing, that my boyfriend had gone in and that we both laughed at each other while I locked him in.
Right.
My boyfriend's sister was skeptical because she was the only one who hadn't seen it while she was in the bathroom, so she looked outside the house and called me right after. When I approached her, she just said, "He's sitting on the couch in front of the house," and walked away as if it wasn't the strangest thing in the world that had just happened. And she was right. My boyfriend was just sitting on the couch without knowing anything, and that made my discomfort even greater. Seeing my shock, he seemed genuinely surprised and concerned, so he asked what was going on, and upon hearing my story, he said that he had not been in the boiler room at all. I kept asking him questions, but every time he completely denied that he was there. My boyfriend, just for the record, is not a fan of spooky stories. They make him anxious and afraid, and he would have no reason to make this up to scare me.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the fact that his sister's boyfriend saw it too, no one would probably believe me, and I would feel completely crazy.
Oh my god. I don't like that at all.
I don't either, because it's so subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, kind of undermines your mental health, I
Yes.
feel.
Yep.
Which I think is a common theme with a lot of these.
Yeah. And just like the little smile, like
You're like-
pleased.
Mhm,
Ew.
like, hee hee.
Yeah. Ugh,
Yeah, you
Yuck.
think I'm real. Hee hee. Yeah, yuck.
I did it.
Okay, and this is the last mimic one. And then we'll talk very briefly about what to do if you encounter a mimic and what not to do.
Perfect.
This is from Specific Attempt 9057. And this is called "A Mimic Tried to Lure Me Out."
Oh no.
Okay. I lived in the same house my entire childhood and teenage life. In that time, I experienced countless paranormal and unexplained events, many of which being from what I've heard people call mimics. The house owned by my father was fairly new, built in the 80s, and as far as I know, no one had ever died in the house or on the property. However, I have heard locals talk about how the surrounding area was where indigenous tribes used to live, so I've always kind of chalked up any activity to that. I have several experiences I could recount, but for now, I will share one of the most bone-chilling. Once I reached about 13 years old, my parents started letting me stay home alone with my older brother, who's about 2 years older, on the days when they were at work. However, since my brother was active in sports, he usually wouldn't get home from practice until an hour and a half or 2 hours after I had. So I would get dropped off on the bus, and he'd come home on his bike after practice. As I mentioned above, my whole life I experienced weird activity in that house, and I want to say my first encounter was around 5 years old or so. So at 15 years old, or 13 years old, I had already seen enough to be kind of creeped out when I was home alone. Also, whenever I was home alone, the energy felt much stronger. I'd walk in the house and my hair would practically stand on end. So, on the days both my parents were at work, I developed this routine of checking the house with a knife before locking myself in the bathroom with it and playing games on my phone until I heard my brother get home. It's kind of odd I'd gravitate towards the bathroom, but I think I did this because it was well lit and small, with a door that locked and only one entrance in. So I always had my back to a wall versus a door, and it eliminated something creeping up behind me. Everywhere else in the house felt like something was breathing down my neck, so the bathroom became my safe space. That makes me so sad that it's like you have to live 2 hours of your life like in hiding in your own house.
In fear. I know.
And nighttime must have been awful.
Yes.
I can't imagine.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
One day, about an hour into my routine bathroom hideaway, I hear the signature squeak of the side door leading from the garage into the house. I then hear what sounds like my brother's footsteps walking into the main area / kitchen of the house, throwing his keys down on the table and letting out one of his loud, identifiable burps. Kind of funny how you can tell which family member is which by the sound of their footsteps and the noises of their gas, but I digress. Finally, I think to myself, feeling a wave of relief wash over me now that someone's finally home, and I can stop hiding in the bathroom with a knife. I set my phone down and stand up, ready to leave the bathroom, but the moment my hand reaches for the doorknob to unlock it, to step out to say hi, a chill runs through me. Something instinctively is telling me to pump the brakes. Something was not right. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but it's almost like when you see an image that looks real, but then upon further inspection, you realize it's AI. I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. It just felt eerily artificial in some way. Maybe it's because my brother would always come in through the front door, not the garage. Also, he kept his keys in his room, not on the table. I don't know. Something about it just didn't line up. So I texted my brother, "Are you home?" To which he immediately replied, "No, leaving practice now."
Oh.
My blood ran cold. As soon as I read his message, all the noise in the main area of the house stopped. For a moment, it was dead quiet, and then all of a sudden, I heard the kitchen stools getting dragged across the tile floor. Not thrown, not shoved, like someone was picking up the edge of the stool and quickly walking it out of the kitchen to the living room. And then in parentheses, he says, the house is an open concept, which would be so much creepier that you're not in like distinctive rooms. It's just like open. I immediately text my brother back saying there's someone in the house. And just then I hear my dog leap onto the couch, the cushions making that familiar squeak, and she starts growling and snarling at something. I'm sitting in the bathroom, silently crying, gripping the knife I have with me like it's a lifeline, and being careful not to make a single peep. At this point, it sounds like stuff is being tossed around, and my dog is barking like crazy at something. Naturally, I'm confused because I vividly heard my brother just a moment ago, but now it sounds like a massively large man is thumping around the house. I would have called the police, but this felt supernatural, and I didn't want to look like a lunatic if the police showed up and found nothing. Call the police. Always call the police.
That's their job.
Always call the police. Doesn't matter if you look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
A few minutes of this noise goes by and then ceases immediately when my brother texts me, "I'm home now, about to walk in." I hear him come in the front door and say something like, "Hello? There's no one in here," so I decide to come out. After I stepped out of the bathroom, I thought for sure the house would be a complete mess from all of the racket I just heard. But to my surprise, everything was exactly as I left it. Nothing out of place, damaged, or even touched. The garage door that I heard swing open, yeah, it was locked from the inside the entire time. It never budged. The only sign that something was off was my dog, who was still on the couch with her fur standing up, looking terrified. This was almost 10 years ago now, but recounting it still gets me choked up and gives me goosebumps. I've come to the conclusion that a mimic or a demon of some sort was trying to lure me out of the bathroom that day, and when I didn't take the bait, it got angry and became aggressive. I'm not an expert, but I've encountered a mimic a few other times in this house. Yeah. I feel the need to add that I'm not schizophrenic, nor is anyone in my family. I was not on any drugs, and I don't have any history of mental health illness.
This poor person feeling like they have to validate
I know.
their story.
I know.
But
Wild.
I feel like the dog validates it.
Yeah, it's wild.
They see all. That's
so
scary.
There was another story that is similar from this, like, so he's like, he says throughout, and I kind of like edited this out, is like upvote if you want me to share more stories. So people are like, fucking yeah, share more stories. But there were so many things that happened, and he has had friends witness it as well. So he had a friend over playing Xbox. They were playing The Sims. And after gaming for a while, they heard the side garage door squeak open. This was about a year before the original story that they posted. Followed by, so door squeaks open, heavy footsteps walking inside. They hit pause on the game, and they're like kind of frozen on high alert because his dad wasn't supposed to be home for like hours still. And he was the only one who would have footfalls that heavy. So they both were like, wait, what the fuck? Who's home?
Yeah.
They fell silent, listening as the footsteps moved from the garage into the kitchen, across the living room, then toward the back of the house, the area where his room was, which they weren't there. They were somewhere else in the house. But the worst part of it was, as it, he says, entered the middle of the house around the kitchen area, we heard it speaking in a distorted, guttural voice that almost sounded like backwards English. Like... Whoa. Almost like a demon speaking in tongues. And then he says, I honestly wish that I were making this up. Anyway, as we heard it move toward the back of the house, we decided to take our chance. We quietly opened the bedroom door and bolted outside, running like bats out of hell. But on our way out, I noticed something weird. The light in the hallway that led to the back of the house was on, and I'm 100% sure it wasn't before we'd gone into my brother's room, where they were hanging out. Another odd detail, my dog, who is usually hyper alert, was sound asleep in the middle of the floor, completely oblivious. It was like she didn't even notice someone or something had just passed by. They made it outside without an issue, but of course a storm cloud had just rolled in, which eventually led to a tornado warning. Terrified, they ran to a neighbor's house, and when they saw how scared that they were, they had said, like, this is what happened, and they said, you should call the police. We thought it was, again, paranormal, so they didn't. He ended up calling his dad, though, and when he got home, he said the house was totally empty, garage door was locked, and he was kind of irritated because he'd left work early to make sure that they hadn't been robbed, which he was like, it's not a demon, someone broke into the house. In hindsight, glad that they didn't call the police or it would have been more of a scene. But for a while, they wondered if someone had broken in. But then after this happened again, a year later, very similar circumstances, he felt like it's probably demonic.
Yes. Sounds like that house is not a good place to be.
No, not a good place to be. And then just really quickly to close out the mimic side of things, some things that you like the number one takeaway, essentially. And this is from Buzz Whizzle Swizzle or Buzz Whizzle Sizzle.
Oh.
They say, number one takeaway from all that I have read and learned about mimics and doppelgangers. Do not look or go towards the mimic. Do not respond to the mimic, and do not run away from the mimic. Essentially, you need to keep looking forward, doing what you are already doing, and give it as little of your energy as you can. I'm still not sure exactly what the goal of the mimic is, but I do believe that it's to drive its victims to insanity. So again, like a mental health play to suck energy, essentially.
Yeah.
If you're in the house and your parents are both in different rooms and you hear one of them call for you, even if you're certain it was them and not the mimic, call their phone and ask them something mundane, like if they can bring you a glass of water or if they want to watch TV with you. Do not ask if they called for you. Ignore any calling out. Tell your parents about this too so they do the same. Try and get in the same room as them without calling for them to come across the house. I don't want to scare you, and to be honest, I don't know if I fully believe in this, but this 100% sounds like a mimic from everything I've read. Lots of Appalachian lore surrounding mimics, so I recommend doing some research on them when you're out of the house, at work or school or whatever. Any energy towards the mimic while in your home will attract and encourage it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Other things people add: cleanse your house, burn white candles, lavender or sage incense, visualize a white light of protection around your house. They feed on low vibration, so bringing light, positivity, high vibration into the household is helpful. And if you live in a wooded or moderately secluded area, close your windows at sundown and do not look outside at night.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Because there's other stuff out there, too.
Get curtains.
Get fucking curtains.
Don't know how people live without them.
Same.
Our
Literally
neighbors
same.
don't have curtains, and I see them in there all the time. I'm like, come on. Weird.
Come on, close them.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and now on to the main attraction. She's stories.
Yes.
Okay, this is from Appropriate Cap 2872. As a teenager, around 1989, my friends and I went to a house to pick up another friend who was hanging out with her cousin and her cousin's friends. There were a bunch of other kids there, and she wasn't ready to go, so we went inside for a minute. They were playing around with a Ouija board and invited us into the room where they had set it up. I was standing in the corner, absolutely terrified as they started. The planchette started to move, and they started asking questions. They asked if it could turn on the lights or blow out a candle. I was silently freaking out, thinking, fuck off, you don't belong here, leave, and other unwelcoming thoughts. So the planchette moved to yes when they asked if it could blow out the candle. And they said, go ahead, do it. And it moved to no. They asked why, and it started spelling, and it spelled possession. I got even more terrified and started shaking and really started sending out the idea of like, fuck you, go away. They asked who it wanted to possess, and it spelled out my last name.
Oh my God. No.
No one on the board knew my last name, and my maiden name is very, very uncommon. Needless to say, I totally freaked out and tried to leave the room, but I couldn't get the door to open. The kids in the room told me I couldn't leave, that they had to finish the session first, but I was crying and so scared that I was shaking.
Yeah.
They asked it if I could leave the room, and it said yes, and only then was I able to open the door.
Oh my
I had
God.
to sit with my friend's aunt for a while to calm down. She wasn't very good at comforting, to say the least, because while I was calming down, she told me and one of the other girls that the board had predicted her brother's death.
Oh my God, and they're still using it?
Yes.
The same one?
She said she kept the board for sentimental reasons.
Oh, she's crazy.
Okay, lady,
Yeah.
right. I've never knowingly been near another board and have told my children and friends the story as a warning. Since that night, I've had the same recurring dream of a man who attempts to kidnap me or appears out of nowhere in my dreams. He knows my name and he has the most unsettling presence to the point where I wake myself up. This has been going on for over 30 years now.
Oh, no.
I don't know who he is and I don't want to know, but I stay away from Ouija boards.
Yeah. I would
Fucking
simply
yikes.
never recover.
I would perish, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Spelling your uncommon last name that no one in the room knows.
Right. You're targeted
Fuck that.
by a demon. Yeah.
Right.
No.
Literally. Okay. This is from Chavez Ding 89. For some context, this happened when I was in high school and was more prone to foolish suggestions. I will never be anywhere near that board again and do not recommend anyone else play with it. It was supposed to be a casual night. We were happy to be done with school for a while and enjoy summer vacation. Around midnight, someone mentioned the Ouija board. Nah, I said, shaking my head. I'd heard enough stories to know it's not something that you mess with. But they kept pushing, joking that I was too scared. I laughed it off, but in the back of my mind, a faint unease prickled. It felt like something I shouldn't do, like crossing some invisible line. But eventually I caved, and part of me was also kind of excited. We set the board on the coffee table and dimmed the lights, half for effect and half because we thought it was all just a game. We settled around the board, fingers on the planchette, exchanging nervous glances. I could feel that same prickling sense of caution, but I ignored it. It's just a board game, I told myself. Is anyone here? My friend asked, her voice low, almost mocking. Nothing happened at first. We all looked at each other, grinning. But then, just as we were about to give up, the planchette slid, slow and steady, toward yes. We froze, half expecting someone to laugh and admit they were pushing it, but no one did. So, what's your name? My friend asked, trying to keep up the joking tone, but I could hear the edge of her voice. The planchette didn't move this time, just stayed still as if it were waiting. After a long silence, I asked, "Do you want us here?" I don't know why I asked that. It just kind of slipped out, and as soon as I said it, I wished I hadn't. Slowly, the planchette slid to no. A chill settled over the room, the kind that feels like it's creeping in from some deep, cold place. One of my friends laughed nervously, saying it was probably just a joke or one of us messing around, but nobody looked convinced anymore. I suggested we stop, but someone brushed it off, saying we're almost done. So we kept going, feeling a little braver again, asking questions and joking around. But the atmosphere stayed heavy, like the room was closing in on us. Finally, all right, I finally said, ready to end it. Do you want us to leave? The planchette shot to yes so quickly it made us all jump. We all pulled our hands back, laughing nervously, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, that maybe we'd done something that we shouldn't have. As we started cleaning up, we noticed that one of the candles had gone out without us noticing, and the air felt colder than it had before. Again, laughing it off, but the jokes were falling flat, and when I looked into my friends' faces, I could see that they felt it too, the sense of wrongness hanging over us, silent and heavy. The weirdest part? For weeks after that night, I felt like I was being watched. I'd catch myself glancing over my shoulder, seeing shadows that didn't quite make sense. It was probably nothing, I told myself, just my mind playing tricks. But deep down, I knew something had shifted that night. like a door we couldn't see had opened and something or someone had been watching, waiting. And maybe, just maybe, it was still there, lingering on the edge of the lights.
That's so scary.
So scary.
Oh my god.
I like the way they told it too, because it's not
Yeah.
like so scary, like nothing crazy happened,
Right.
but like weird the candle blew out and like the
Mhm.
weird sensation
The
of it all.
feeling. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
was
that-
reading. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking about what would happen if we did a Ouija board. I'm like, I feel like
That makes me feel sick thinking
because
about it.
I think something would happen.
100%
For
something
sure.
would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not doing that. No.
never. Thank you.
I want a Ouija board, like a pretty one, like as
Right,
a
like a-
display item.
Uh-huh. Yes.
But then I'm sort of scared of that too.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
it's
I don't know what
still-
bringing one to the house does.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Maybe like
Especially because like the gorgeous ones are like vintage. And it's like, fuck
Who-
that.
who all has played on
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
I need like a brand new, like sparkly pink one made in resin.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm like, no one has played with this before.
Yeah. Made in China
Literally,
By-
yes.
and designed by Lisa Frank.
Yeah, exactly. Lisa Frank.
Yeah.
Lisa
Um,
Frank and Mattel.
Yes. Speaking of Ouija, really quick, did
Yeah.
you know that they did a second The Craft movie?
No.
Yeah, I watched it because I
Is
was
it
like
good?
looking through the Halloween stuff on
Yeah.
Hulu, I think, and it was really bad, but it was still
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Still
The
fun. Is it
first
the same
one-
characters?
No, different, but at the end, one of them comes back.
Oh,
So-
that's fun. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
didn't even know. I've never even like been lightly aware that that existed.
Yeah, I hadn't either, and like I love the movie The Craft.
Yeah,
It's
same.
Scary, but
The part where she
it's-
goes like that and her hair color changes.
Yes.
Ah, that was like
I love it.
a formative moment of my childhood.
Yes. So
Love.
if you want a bad movie, but that's
Okay.
like kind of enjoyable.
Oh, but it's perfect for
It's there.
Halloween.
yes.
Most of them are bad.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's true. Yeah. So anyway.
Um,
I think they do Ouija in that movie, which is why I said it.
yeah, I mean, I love the stories. I don't want to experience it myself.
Yes. Exactly.
I was reading too. I mean, I've read through so many stories about playing with Ouija boards today, and just doing research for this. But a lot of the things that people say in the comments is like that it really isn't the board, it's you. Like
Yeah.
that the board is just a medium. And so if you have even one person in the room who has the energetic power to be like a
Mhm.
conduit, you're
Yeah.
fucked. Like
Yes.
that's all it takes is like one person having an ounce of that energy and the door's open.
yeah.
So anyway, very weird.
Yeah. You and I cannot.
No.
We're not welcome.
Exactly.
No.
No. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next story is from Foxy 1875. In my mid-teens, my friend told me that he'd made a Ouija board and said he'd been playing with it. He said we should have a go as it was interesting and fun. And so we did. And at first it was fun. We used the board over several weekends. Some contacts were quite weak, some felt stronger and more chatty. We even contacted the same spirit, they say in quotes and with a question mark, over a couple of weeks. It had a Germanic name and seemed very friendly and answered lots of questions. One evening, talking to our Germanic friend, something didn't feel right. It told us we shouldn't do this anymore, as others were taking notice.
Oh.
The next time we used the board, things were very different. The spirit we were in contact with was more powerful. The glass we used started zooming around the board, and we felt like we were being lied to whenever we asked a question. My friend asked, "Where are you?" And it very strongly replied, "Here."
Oh.
Here. My friend asked, "Where is here?" And it replied, "In the room."
Oh my god.
We both suddenly felt cold and got goosebumps all over. It spelled out the word cold. We asked, "Are you doing this?" And the glass shot to yes, and then spelled out, "On your back."
Oh,
We were both
my
shitting ourselves at this point, and my friend announced, "We're going to go now." And the glass shot to no. It almost came out of our hands, and we had to clamp down on it.
God.
"Fuck this, I'm out of here," I told my friend. He nodded and agreed, and on the count of 3, we both said goodbye and disposed of the glass in the local canal at the end of the street. The next time I saw my friend, he informed me he'd destroyed the board he'd made. He even confided that he was so disturbed by it all, he'd told his parents and they had gone nuclear on him. We had done these sessions in his house while his parents had nights out. I myself didn't sleep properly for weeks. Anyway, this was a long time ago, the mid-1980s. I'm now nearly 55 and still wish we'd never done such a stupid thing. It all feels like a game, but believe me, things turn dark quickly. Don't meddle with things you don't understand.
That's so scary.
So scary.
On your back.
On your
No.
back. Like, ew.
They
And that's like when you think about like attachments and things like that. Like that's how I envision them being
Yeah.
like on your neck or your back or something.
Yeah, or just
Um,
standing behind you. Yeah.
Right. Oh, I hate that you said that. Hate that you said
Yeah,
that.
sorry about that. But
Okay, 2 more. This is for, I don't actually want to say this.
I'm gonna look at it. You don't have to say it.
I'm not going to. So, okay, they say lots of doubters in the comments prompted me to post because normally I never talk about this. I can tell you that the Ouija does indeed work. And if you've messed with one and nothing happened, well, you're lucky and not very observant or dead to the force, and maybe that's not such a bad thing. Ouija itself literally is just a board, mostly made by a toy company, true. But it's not so much the board itself, it's the intent of the person or people using it, and the will of the energies on the other side. What I'm about to share is all true, witnessed by myself and several others, and it took place over the course of about 2 months. Names have been changed. It all happened about 27 or 28 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. It was late August, early September, fall, and the beautiful weather associated with it was all around. We were young teens, a rowdy, nerdy bunch, and if you could get up to it in our town, we did. In our more idle times, we had come to hang out at B. Dalton's bookstore, which led us to reading lots of books on the occult. We weren't practitioners per se, but we read a lot about the prominent stuff at the time. To ride a silver broomstick, stalking the wild, etc. And this is what led us to Ouija. The unbridled curiosity of youth and the associated fearless mentality prompted us to get a board. We literally rode our bikes to a Toys R Us and bought it. Parker Bros or Milton Bradley, I forget. I remember we had... Thanks! Oh, scares me sometimes. I remember we had to wait until our parents were otherwise occupied, so we didn't even play with the thing for a few nights. Billy and I are twins, fraternal twins, but to this day we have an uncanny connection. Life takes you to different places, but we've had moments that are just plain odd. Our friend Tim was really less interested in this stuff, and even kind of dead to the force sort of person. But don't get me wrong, none of us are truly 100% dead to the force. Thursday evening, no parents at our house, the stage is set. We cobbled together candles, salt, creating a warding ring, made a pentacle while 9 yards. I've often since wondered if we had always kept those safeguards, would we have avoided any issues, but we didn't. First few times were really fun, funny, innocent. We talked to things that were seemingly friendly and knew stuff none of us knew. Told us twins the name of the high school we would attend, even though at the time that seemed impossible. Told Tim that his father, who was estranged, owned a record sit. I don't know what that means, but odd, and confirmed 7 months later. So like information they didn't know for a long time to come. But nothing really scary happened, so we relaxed. No more pentacle or salt, still some candles for mood. So they start to take down some of the safeguards that they had put in place. About our fifth or sixth time working with the Ouija, that all started to change. Over the next several sessions, we got angry energy coming in. Taunts, threats, odd smells, strange noises, sounds like whispering or chanting. Terrifying, but we, of course, were always trying to be cool. The last time before our parents got involved, Tim challenged an energy that was really rude and vulgar by asking if it was a demon and could prove it. And then he poured a candle's hot wax on the board. I remember a distinct feeling that this was horrible, and it was. Not 2 minutes later, the planchette was moving sort of roughly, almost like it was agitated. There was an extreme cold in the room, my bedroom, gee whiz, thanks guys, a smell of sulfur, and a sudden abrupt groan. 2 of the candles blew out, and we finally lost our cool, literally in unison, all of us. We were terrified, lights on, candles out, forgot to say goodbye on the board, hid it in our closet, always behind the bookcase because my closet was huge. We told ourselves that we had just freaked ourselves out. We tried to say that the cold was just the weather, but even though fall is okay in South Texas, it was nowhere near that cold outside, and we all knew it. We set the talk aside, although I saw fear on their faces, and I too was afraid. Video games and boastful talk calmed us down. Later that night, I had a horrible dream. Not like normal, though. I was myself, but I was an observer observing myself. I saw myself lying there and saw something near that version of me. Almost formless, but a general form to it was sort of large and smoky fog, filled with a feeling of malice. It then seemed to notice me observing it and myself and seemed angry and then vanished. I sat up at 2:30 a.m. roughly, and I wasn't the only one. Phone call to parents' main line at about 4 a.m. and woke up to irate parents, Tim's mother and stepfather calling. He'd had several bouts of screaming night terrors and what we'd later hear called sleep paralysis. So they're all waking up to these dreams. He had spilled his guts to his parents, and they were freaked, and now we were all woken up and had to explain it all. He blamed us, and we blamed him, as good friends do in the heat of parental rage. Standard protocol, board confiscated, occult books confiscated, etc. You'd think that was the end of it all, but it wasn't. Timbo wasn't allowed over anymore for a while, so the next bit was more so a family matter. Our mother had taken the stuff and didn't throw it away. No, she proceeded to read up on it and use it alone, by herself, without telling anyone. No warding, no protections, nothing. This continued in secret for at least several weeks. We found out about it in the strangest way, too. Walked into her room one afternoon on a Saturday, and there she was, sitting on her bed. She had the Ouija out on a legal pad, left hand on the planchette and pen in the right hand. She was in a trance, to put it mildly. Full automatic writing was occurring, fast, violent strikes of the pen, and she made zero reaction to us entering the room. Billy was in shock, and I might have been too, but I spoke up. Mom, what the fuck? The pen stopped, and she just slowly turned her head to us. No joke, she looked at us like we were complete strangers. This is a woman that left her corporate career when she had us, did Supermom routine as we entered school, sang songs and enriched our childhood, looked at us like complete strangers. A horrible, cracked voice snarled for us to get out and leave it alone. And we did. We got the fuck out. And when we could later that day, we brought the situation up in front of her to our father. He totally disregarded us, and she said, no, she's been trying to contact her dead brother, and denied what we witnessed. We then told our aunts, and they were better able to intervene. They knew people in the Botanica spiritual world and got them involved. It led to holy water confrontations, binding spells, and banishments done in a hybridized occult Catholic, and then in parentheses it says South Texas, y'all, kind of way. To this day, my mother never speaks on it and will deny it to our faces, but you can see in her eyes that she knows. It was long ago and still freaks me out. That house still has a negative energy that's never really left. I know more now. I've smudged it, etc. But whenever I've been there overnight, I cannot rest. None of this is a joke. I literally never speak about this. And whenever I have, I keep it as vague as possible. But not today. I left a few lesser things out as they're not material to the story. Believe what you will, doubters, but when you experience it, you'll know.
Because they never closed the session, did they?
No.
So the mom was maybe,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Probably possessed. Yeah, 100%.
Oh my god, that's so scary.
Yeah, so scary.
Wow, I hate that.
Okay.
And
I
love
know,
it.
me too. And love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. This is from The Shortest Stoner. Love that.
That's perfect.
Okay. I never believed in the Ouija board bullshit until I tried it myself. TLDR, we talked to a little ghost boy who ended up messing with us for weeks, and we felt like it was pranks or coincidences until we found the kid's tombstone in the local graveyard.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full story, no exaggerations. Went over to my best friend's home one night when her mom was out on a date. She had made a Ouija board out of cardboard and used a cup as the planchette and begged us to use it. So we rubbed the cup in an infinity sign 3 or 8 times because we read online you had to warm up the board. That's not how you warm up the board, by the way. That is calling for Zozo. So
Yeah,
don't do
that's
that.
right. Okay.
Just ask basic questions. That's how you warm up the board.
Right.
And also just don't warm up the board. Don't use the board. What am I saying?
Yeah. But if you have to.
But if you have to,
Yes.
just ask questions.
Yes.
Then we asked, hello, is anyone there? And got an immediate yes. What's your name? It said, no. We asked, how'd you die? And it said, killed by dad. We asked, how old? And it said, 11. We asked, did you die near the house? And it replied, right behind it. We asked, will you please tell us your name? And he spelled out his name, Charles. The room then became freezing cold. It was the dead of summer, and her mom was kind of poor. No AC, only a couple of fans. So we looked at each other and said, was that you? We were asking each other, but the board responded and said, yes. We got freaked out and said, okay, let's say goodbye. And the planchette went to no.
Oh.
This is where it goes bad. We said 1, 2, 3, goodbye, and moved it towards goodbye, but it shot back to no. I said, this isn't fucking funny. Stop playing with it and say goodbye. And she swore it wasn't her. Then, you're going to hate this. Then the planchette started spelling UNDERBED under bed.
No.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
I said, okay, I'm done. This isn't funny. I want to go home. You're messing with me, and you know I didn't want to play this stupid-ass game. And then the bed started shaking.
No. Oh,
I
my
started
God.
panicking, moved the planchette to goodbye, even though it felt like it weighed 50 pounds, and we both said goodbye 3 times, but the bed would not stop shaking. Then the fan in her room stopped oscillating and pointed directly at us. We both noticed, but just looked at each other in fear, and then every fucking cabinet in her house started swinging open and closed. The lights were flickering, the TV was going on and off. We threw the board and ran out of the house, even though the front door was swinging open and closed, and it was like a game trying to get out. We called her mom, but she didn't pick up. She was an alcoholic, which is nice. So we decided to call 911 because the house was like actually going crazy and we were idiot 13-year-olds. Right as the cops pulled up, the house went silent. No more slamming, flickering, anything. We told them what happened, and when we went inside, almost all the glass and plates were shattered all over the floor. But of course they accused us of watching a scary movie, getting scared, and making a mess. So we had better clean up the house before her mom came home. Then they left. Rural, small-town cop bullshit. So we went back inside, grabbed the board and cup, threw both in a trash can, put salt on it, then gasoline, and burned it. Which you're also not supposed to do.
Right.
I went home and I assumed that she cleaned up because I sure as hell was not staying there. She said she felt weird for weeks, like could not get a good night's sleep, but I refused to go back to her house. 4 weeks later, I finally forgave her because the Ouija was her idea and went back over so she could take a nap while I watched. I swear on everything that as she was asleep, I heard footsteps running around her house, but I wasn't going to follow them because I've seen enough horror movies. Then, a little boy popped up in the window and said, "Missed you," and proceeded to disappear. I shook her ass awake and said, "We need to go now," and proceeded to drag her out of bed and the house. She kept telling me, "You're crazy. A kid can't reach the window. It's too high up. You're just tired." But I refused to let it go and said we could walk until my mom came to pick us up. So we went for a walk around her trailer park, and after exploring, we found a hidden cemetery by the woods. Again, we live in rural suburbs, so the trailer park was big, and there are woods everywhere. And there are 12 to 16 plots. She wanted to read the names, and I said, "No, let's go. What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then she goes, "No, look." And the stone had the kid's name. "Here lies Charlie, fill in the blank. 1980 to 1991, accidental death, survived by 2 brothers and his loving parents." I never went back to her house again, and shortly after that, I started getting more into the paranormal and supernatural. But I will never forget what happened, and I will never use a Ouija board again.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
It reminds me of the scene from Salem's Lot, where the vampire boy is like hovering in the second floor window, trying to get him to open the window. Oh my god. So creepy.
Yeah. Ew. So Charlie
creepy.
was murdered. And
Yeah.
the dad is still out there.
Accidental
probably.
death, my butthole.
Yeah. Right.
So
God.
spooky.
Those were all so scary.
I know. My hands
But-
are sweaty. And Binks has been like
Bouncing
ripping
around.
through the house and scaring the shit out of me.
I feel like
The butthole.
I like the Ouija stories though because these people invited it. It's
Yeah,
not
they're kind of
like-
asking for
Yes,
it a little
yeah.
bit.
It's
That,
not
I
just
hate that
showing up.
phrase, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Still scary though.
Yeah, my hands are sweating. I'll tell you that
Uh-huh.
much.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
That's
see you
it.
next week for Halloween, you little freaks.
I can't believe
Um,
it.
Have a fabulous, safe lead up to Halloween. I feel like a lot of people celebrate the weekend before Halloween, so if you're partying tomorrow on Saturday,
Yeah.
be safe, have fun, be spooky. And we'll see you next week for some scary ass stories.
Yeah. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
Bye.
Bye.